Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the week of June 30th. This week you have this Bell Rock card. It says possibilities on it. And you have this changes card as well. So obviously there is a possibility for change. I think you have to open up to the change with these Seven of Wands, of course. I like the Seven of Wands personally. I think that it's a good card. It's a card of conviction. It says the more that if you know that something is going to work, then it will work. Like if you truly believe it deep down inside. But he can be a little bit stubborn. And here you go. Both of these cards right here, the Seven of Wands and the Three of Wands, can represent waiting for the perfect moment when there never will be a perfect moment. So I would say, Cancer, what are you waiting for here? You're clearly waiting for something, but I don't know if you're waiting for the cows to come home or what, but I think that it's time for you to take some sort of leap of faith towards something which has been coming up for you for weeks now. And so, sorry, I don't control the messages. So people always say, you said this last week, and it's like, well, I don't know, either number one, you didn't listen and you didn't do what you had to do, or number two, things don't change overnight. And like I always say, I wouldn't really trust a reader that was always different, because usually we're working on things for months, years at a time, right? So that's how life works. Sorry. But, again, I do think that there's probably some sort of leap of faith that you could be taking. You have the Seven of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the King of Wands. I feel like there's something maybe from your childhood that could be kind of getting in the way. There's a weird thing about July. Again, I think June only has 30 days in it. I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure Monday is the last day of June, right? The 30th. And so we're entering into July. And there is something about July about like letting go of blockages, or I think it would be a good time for pretty much everyone to, maybe work on some sort of blockage, like money blocks, relationship blocks, health blocks, whatever they are. And so this could be encouraging you to open up to releasing those blockages. With the Three of Wands as well, and you also have the Knight of Wands here, putting this all together, you have a lot of cards that would represent like really stepping into the unknown or going on an adventure. Three of Wands and the Knight of Wands are like adventurous energies. And so I think it might just be a good time for you to just like go on an adventure in general. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune can represent a change in your fortunes, of course, or things changing for you. I feel like there's some sort of fear that you have to face, obviously, with the Seven of Wands and the Three of Wands also showing up. They both kind of represent like facing some sort of fear or whatever. And the Wheel of Fortune has this snake right here. The snake represents fears. The snake represents snakes are guardians of portals, and they kind of represent the fact that usually everything we want in life, we have to face some sort of fear to get it. And I kind of feel that with the Wheel of Fortune, but I do feel like your fortunes are changing. I mean, you have very good cards here. The Sun, you have the Knight of Pentacles and the good stuff, which is progress. You have the Three of Wands, which is still good. It can say you need to make a move, but it is a card of expansion and growth and all those other good things. You have the King of Wands. King of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. I feel just intuitively that you could be having a lot of kind of like visionary ideas, whether you realize it or not here, Cancer. Like if you have any ideas that just seem like they're coming from the future, I would really be listening to those ideas. And I know I'm speaking generally here, but it is very general. I think that these could be ideas about business, love, your health, pretty much everything. And, it's like you could be sitting down just zoning out, right, on your porch, daydreaming, and that's where these ideas could come from. So I don't know, I feel like you're downloading ideas. I almost feel like I said this to you very recently, so if I did, then it's definitely true. And I would really be listening to those downloads. I also think like the longer you think about it, the worse it's going to be, right? We go up to the Knight of Swords. Now, normally the Knight of Swords says don't rush, but I feel like if you come up with an idea, I'm not saying that you should rush, but I would just do it, whatever it is. Like, don't spend all day thinking about it. The more you think about it, the more likely it is that you're not going to do it, right? So, as long as this isn't a life or death situation, where if you rush into something, you're going to die, is what I'm talking about. Obviously, don't rush into something like that. But if it's not that serious, I would get started on whatever these ideas are. With the Seven of Wands, you show up here as the Queen of Cups, which can be Cancer. So I feel that you are showing up in a strong position. Whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and kind of allows you to get what you want from the reading, Cancer. So I feel like it's just you showing up there. Also a great card for following your heart. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Knight of Wands, which you have twice in this reading. Again, this would be doing things differently. The Knight of Wands is very spontaneous. The Wheel of Fortune, we have to take control of our destiny with the Wheel of Fortune. And with the Knight of Wands there, what we have to do is we have to, kind of like be willing to go on adventures. We have to be willing to do things in a different way with that combination, especially with the Three of Wands as well. The Three of Wands, it's like he's looking at those boats, and those boats are going somewhere he's never been before. So again, this basically says, the whole reading really says, to change your fortunes, you have to change, which is always true, but you have to change the way you do things because, this type of energy would kind of represent doing things the same for too long. With the King of Wands, you have the Knight of Cups. Could be a Knight in Shining Armor for those of you that want love. Definitely we have the Six of Cups. We have the Two of Cups. Definitely could be a strong connection coming in for you here with the Knight of Cups. Could be any sign. You do have a lot of fire here. You also have all the fixed signs: Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Sag. You have Leo again, Earth, Water. You basically have all 12 signs. So could be any sign coming in for you if you are looking for love. I would say that it's a very bold, assertive, confident person with that King of Wands, so, that could be the type of person. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this card. It says, it is what it is. This card always cracks me up for some reason. And you have this willing release card, right? I think that you need to be willing to release the past. You have the Six of Cups here. We do have Mercury going retrograde in the middle of the month on the 17th, and, of July, I'm talking about. And yes, I know this is a weekly reading, but it doesn't matter. We're entering into the shadow, so you're going to feel this energy now, probably. And what I would say is that you have the Six of Cups, which is nostalgia, which is thinking about the past. This Mercury retrograde, for whatever reason, seems to be bringing up like a lot more than what we are used to as far as the past is concerned. Part of me feels like it's a good thing, because I do feel that this Mercury retrograde just seems to me like it's focusing on like releasing blockages, which again is probably pretty good. But it just seems like a little bit more past energy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like more. You have the Three of Wands, the Six of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. In some ways this would be very good because this would say that, I kind of feel this intuitively, that you are seeing how you have outgrown the past with the Three of Wands and the Six of Cups. It's like the Three of Wands is expansion. And so in a lot of ways, I feel like you are ready to make a move and to like get out into the world and to leave the past in the past and leave things behind that no longer serve you. And so I kind of feel this is saying that you are seeing how much you have grown. And, I feel really good about that, Cancer. I feel like this is, a lot of growth and expansion coming in for you. I also feel moving for some reason. So if you are thinking about moving, I do feel like some of you could literally be moving. I also feel if you're questioning it, if you're wondering, should I move? That is definitely saying yes to me for whatever reason. So if you are out there and asking, should I move for work or whatever, I would say yes, it looks good. You have the Six of Cups. Again, I kind of feel like you're trying to, it's like the Six of Cups is the past, of course, can represent innocence and nostalgia or thinking about the past. It can represent a turnaround as well, or like a gift from the universe. But I feel for a lot of you, the Six of Cups is saying that, that basically that you are looking at what you have outgrown. I do feel like there is a little bit of disappointment here, but not in a bad way. I just think sometimes we have to let go of things from the past, like things that we used to enjoy doing, that we don't enjoy anymore. And, it's like we have those attachments, and that could be what you're letting go of. I also think that it would be an amazing time to work on blockages, which is probably going to come up for all three water signs, just because of the astrology, right? You have the Knight of Wands. If you're building anything, I feel like I said this to you recently as well, Cancer. If you're building anything at all, a business, a relationship, you could be building yourself, right? Any type of building, I think, is going to be very good for you. And I think it is a time for you to build something. And so I would pick something. I would pick anything. It could be your arms, for all I care. It's like maybe you want bigger biceps, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I would like pick one thing that you can work on and build in literally, and it could be anything, like I said, a business, your social media, it could be building a YouTube channel, it could be building your health, could be whatever. But it's definitely popping into my head that like picking something to work on, but to build would be amazing with this energy. Definitely popping into my head. I'm also getting a lot of mystery here. We kind of are at a time of mystery, I would say, astrologically, but he has these pyramids here. And the Knight of Wands can represent needing to like look into mystery, or it can say that it can basically say there are things that are a mystery to you, but if you look into them, they won't be a mystery anymore if you learn about it. So, I would dig into any mystery. With the Three of Wands, you have the Sun twice, which is amazing. The Sun is the best card in the tarot. So whenever you have the Sun, of course, it makes the whole entire reading more positive, and you have it twice, which is amazing. So definitely the Sun can be shining on you. There could be a lot of happiness and joy coming in for you as well with those cards. Here you go. With the Six of Cups, you have the Three of Swords. Definitely something to heal, like I was saying, on that Six of Cups. The Three of Swords, I personally don't think is that bad of a card. It's like those swords are in your own heart. The whole point of the Three of Swords is to heal your own heart, is to remove those swords from your heart. And we can do this through forgiveness or just healing in general. And again, you don't have to forgive a person directly. You just have to forgive them in your heart and move on. You have that card that says willing release. Just releasing something and letting it go will probably be the thing that heals you the most with the Three of Swords. The other thing that I feel is that I feel like going this way, that some of you are fearing like a heartbreak, or you're feeling that something will break your heart, but I really don't think it will. Like, again, if you're like looking for new love, it's like you could be looking for it, but you also, just kind of feels like, to me, you're still worrying about it, or you're still worrying that someone's going to break your heart, but I don't think that's true. With the Knight of Wands, here you go, you have the Emperor. Definitely could be attracting like a real Emperor. I'm pretty sure you've been getting the Emperor with me like crazy, Cancer. So, and it's like you're the only sign that constantly gets this. So, if you're looking for love, definitely could be a very solid connection coming in for you. Definitely a very driven, hardworking person as well. I mean, this could be a person who like has a lot of opportunity in life, or a person who creates a lot of opportunity. I would also pay attention to opportunities. You have the Sun twice, Three of Wands, and the Knight of Wands, asking you to build something. But with the Emperor, the Emperor, he is waiting for an opportunity, and when he doesn't question it when one comes across his plate, right? He has his armor on underneath his cloak. So when an opportunity is presented to him, he grabs onto it. He really makes sure to make it happen. So, I would say that if you're getting any opportunities, I would grab onto those opportunities. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you have this Illuminate card and this Flow card. So I think that with the Sun twice, obviously, things that flow are being illuminated to you. With the Sun, all we have to do is pay attention to our attention, and we have to pay attention to what works. So if something is working, I would trust it, because it's probably getting you into the flow with that Flow card. You have the Knight of Swords, the Sun, and the Two of Cups. I feel pretty good about this Knight of Swords. Normally, I don't like the Knight of Swords because he is being too hasty. I also normally don't like him because he can represent getting to the next card here, in this case, the Knight of Pentacles, but he's choosing to run back to the past instead of, making progress on something with that Knight of Pentacles. But again, I read intuitively, and intuitively I feel pretty good about the Knight of Swords in your reading. I do think things are going to progress quickly, especially if you are attracting love. You have the Two of Cups in this rub. So if you are attracting a new person, I feel like you could be attracting a person that moves, this could move at like lightning speed very quickly. But I think if it works, it works. That'll be fine. I would also just, I would ignore other people. I feel like I say this to you, have said this to you a lot, but I don't know. I just get this energy for Cancer where it's like other people could get in the way of you and something that's really good for you. And so if I have said that to you before, I would say it's definitely true. It's popping into my head with this card that it's like you could like a person, or maybe you want to move and get a job in another state or another country or something like that. I just feel like this, I feel good about this, but I also feel that this could be people in your life who are like, oh, don't do that, but they're just like holding you back. So I would be careful of people holding you back, right? You have the Sun. The Sun is happiness and joy and good things coming in for you. So I feel like the Sun is shining on you. Definitely could be a lot of happiness coming in for you with the Sun. I feel like you need to pay attention to it. Well, no, let me put it this way. Something is much easier than you think here, Cancer. And I feel like I've said that to you recently as well. You go up to the Knight of Pentacles. The Sun, he is carrying this banner right here. And that banner is meant to look very heavy. But the little child or baby is carrying that banner very easily. And, the whole point of the Sun is ease. It doesn't say that things are going to be easy, but it says allow things to be easy, which there's a big difference, right? It says don't overcomplicate things that don't need to be overcomplicated. And going up to that Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is coming up in the good stuff, which is great, but I do think that that Knight of Pentacles is kind of encouraging you to keep things simple. Next, you have the Two of Cups, which is like a perfect match coming in for you. So definitely could be a very solid connection. The Two of Cups is also communication. So usually we start with communication, which I think has been coming up for you for weeks now, Cancer, if you want love. Even if you don't want love, I do feel this is like a perfect match in communication. This could be in business or work. So you could be getting a lot of like business or work communications that would be very successful for you. And, I feel very good about that as well. This is like teaming up. Like, I feel like, if you have a business and you want to team up with a person, or if you're hoping to find a person to join your team or something, it's popping into my head that way. I feel that you could be finding someone who is like a perfect match, who would be very good for your business or for whatever it is that you're doing. So I like it. Also, obviously, very good for love. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Three of Pentacles. Yes, with the Sun is always about showing off. And the Three of Pentacles is about teamwork, but it's also about showing your work. He is putting his work on display right here. And these people are appreciating the work that he has done. So I feel a lot of you could be getting recognition for the work that you do here, Cancer. I kind of feel you have to put yourself out there in a bigger way, though. Like, I would take bigger risks. It's popping into my head intuitively with that Knight of Swords, Three of Wands. It's like basically saying to me, like, no sitting on a fence. It would be much better for you to have an opinion at this time, which I know is hard, right? Especially in the age of being canceled for saying anything, right? But it's like, I think you have to have an opinion. But this could also be at work or, in your career, where it's like maybe you want to say something at work, but you don't agree with something or you don't like something. I think that it would be so much better for you to speak up and like have an opinion. And because it will make you, that's what will make you stand out, right? But same thing if you have a business or, anything else. Like, I'm not saying you have to be sharing your political opinions or your religious opinions or anything like that. I think this is more like, like in work, it's like if everybody thinks that they should be promoting the business on the side of the road, and maybe your opinion is that it's 2020 frickin' 5, we should be advertising, right? Then, maybe you need to share that opinion. So, again, I think it would be a good time for you to speak up because it'll probably get you good attention. And you might make some enemies, but what's life without enemies, right? With the Sun, you have the Five of Pentacles. You need to come out of the cold, is what this is saying. If you want love, it's like you're making this way too complicated, is what I feel intuitively. I think you are focusing too much on the reasons why something wouldn't work instead of why it would work. Like, I'm not too worried about it because you have the Eight of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles here and the Six of Swords, both showing up in the good stuff. So I do think intuitively that you will make a move eventually. With the Two of Cups, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles could be a Capricorn, although you have like all 12 signs here. So the Queen of Pentacles is about resourcefulness and gathering your resources. I feel like, again, we have this rabbit right here. And the rabbit can represent like speed, fertility, abundance, multiplication as well. So this could be something that, really progresses very, very quickly in your life. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Fiery Beginnings card. It says, you're on the brink of a real breakthrough. There you go. Follow your heart and live your passion. Three of Wands. Queen of Cups, Three of Wands. Queen of Cups is following your heart. You have this Wealth of Knowledge. It says, connect to the knowledge in your soul to teach and help heal the world. Yes, I think that for a lot of you, you have a lot to share. But, again, I think with that Three of Pentacles was saying to me that you have to take the risk of pissing people off. And, and who cares, right? And you have to take the risk of maybe people being mad at you or people not liking you. Trust me, it's a good thing when people don't like you, right? Like every superhero, right? How boring would Superman be if there were no enemies in the movies or in the TV show? Same thing with Spider-Man, right? It would be super boring. It would be like, Spider-Man exists and everybody likes him. Nobody wants to watch that movie, right? So it's a good thing when people don't like you. You have the Knight of Pentacles, the Eight of Swords, and the Six of Swords. I feel progress on the Knight of Pentacles, which is great. I also feel like you're starting to be more bold in kind of like the way that you put your work out there. Again, he has this blank canvas behind him, these empty fields behind him, but he has to like plant seeds in those fields and they will grow. But again, it's kind of like a blank canvas, and and maybe he's putting his work on display. And I think that's exactly what you need to do here, Cancer. This is also a card of knowledge and wisdom, and you have this Wealth of Knowledge card. He has these oak leaves on his helmet, which represent knowledge and wisdom. So I think you need to like put your knowledge and wisdom out into the world. You have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is self-imposed restriction, so it is a card of keeping yourself stuck. But the good news is it's coming up in the good stuff. So I feel a lot of you could be setting yourselves free. I also get a message here that you're like no longer doubting your intuition. I feel like maybe some of you have been doubting your intuition too much, or maybe you haven't been listening to what your intuition is telling you for too long. And I feel like this is almost like the return to intuition, or it's like maybe you are starting to trust your intuition more, which I also think would be great with that card. You have the Six of Swords. Six of Swords can represent moving on to calmer shores, so definitely could be some improvements coming in for you with the Six of Swords. You could be moving on to calmer shores here. I also feel that I do feel like some of you are cutting something out. This woman and the child in the boat here, they are completely letting go of the past, and they are completely moving on to calmer shores, or hopefully calmer shores. It's like, I feel like some of you it's almost like the Wild West in your life, Cancer, is how I see it in my head. It's like, or like the gold rush, right? It's like, I feel like some of you are just like, you know what, I've been living wherever I've been living for too long and I need adventure. It's like you're going to California, right? Like back in the day, I'm talking about, and you're like looking for a new thing to explore. And that's like the energy I get here. For you, it's like I'm not saying you're going to discover gold, but it's kind of like you need that adventure, you need that excitement, right? With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Cups. There you go. Nine of Cups would be like looking for fulfillment. Nine of Cups can also represent just a wish in the good stuff. So I definitely feel a lot of you could be getting something you wish for. You could be attracting a wish with that Nine of Cups, but it is a card of fulfillment. So I feel a lot of you could just be looking for more fulfillment in your life. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Judgment card. Judgment can be like a wake-up call, or waking up to your purpose. I feel like you're listening more. Like I said, with that Eight of Swords, I was getting something about intuition. It's like maybe you've realized like where you have been doubting your intuition for too long, and I feel like you're starting to like tap into your intuition more. You're starting to listen to it more. I'm not sure like where that's going. This is your higher self angel, so it's like you could be realizing that you need to listen to your higher self more. These people also are completely starting over. The coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin represents their new life. So I feel for a lot of you, it's like you are stepping into this new life, or you're about to step into your new life. With the Six of Swords, you have the Knight of Swords. Yes, I kind of feel this is confirmation that the Knight of Swords is good in your reading, like I said a minute ago. I felt pretty good about the Knight of Swords in your reading for whatever reason. And, again, normally I don't like the Knight of Swords, but I do feel pretty good about it. Next, you have this Fair Woman card. It says, dealings or relationships with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. And then you have this Marriage card. This could be you. Doesn't really matter what you look like. This is a general reading. I'm reading for a bunch of you. So I feel like for those of you that want love, definitely could be like marriage potential. We don't really see any marriage cards here, but, of course, it's just a general reading. So there definitely could be love. You have this Happiness card, Sun twice. With the Sun twice and the Six of Cups, I mean, literally the best thing you can do with both of those cards is to be more happy, or to do things that bring more happiness into your life. The more happy we are with those cards, the better. So, there you go. You have this Older Woman card. It says, dealings or relationships with an older woman. I always clarify these people cards. You have this Fly card. It says, a period of ill health and depression. I would be very careful of people. The problem with like Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Aries like we have right now is like, I think that there's like a little part of that, and especially with Chiron in Aries as well, where it's like Chiron in Aries basically says you have to heal yourself, right? So if there's a person that is like causing problems in your life, or is always miserable, and if this person is dragging you down, and it doesn't have to be an older woman, it could be just a person in general, I would be very careful of people like that. You have this pineapple. It says reconciliation on it. I don't think this is like reconciliation like a person. One thing I will tell you is we have that North Node in Pisces, which is very karmic. And I've said this to all the water signs before that, with that the North Node in Pisces is what I meant to say. And with that North Node in Pisces energy, I kind of feel like water signs, it's like the universe is saying like, okay, you've done all this work in your life in the past. Here are your karmic rewards. And so it's almost like the universe is paying back water signs for what they went through, if that makes sense. You have this rooster. It says, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. Yeah, I would just be careful of cocky people in general. I think this is true for everyone. And I would also, again, like I said here, I would be careful of anyone who's trying to get in between you and something you want. It's very obvious. To me, this type of person is very obvious. They say, like, don't do this, don't do that. This is dangerous. They come from a place of fear, and that's what I'd be careful of. But this looks really good, Cancer. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.